the world ended, but your thirst didn't. You're surrounded by water, but drinking this is a death sentence. And that clear, inviting stream over there looks pure, right? Wrong? It can be teeming with invisible threats, bacteria, viruses, and parasites just waiting to wreck your world all over again. Waterborne diseases will leave you vomiting, fighting off diarrhea, and totally incapacitated when you need your strength the most. But what if I told you that you could turn this puddle scum into pristine, life-saving water? And what if you could do it without any of that fancy, expensive gear? Stick with me, and I'll show you how to purify water like a pro, even at the end of the world. We're going to cover the 3 essential no-gear methods that every single survivor needs to know. Welcome to Apocalypse Survival. Alright, before we even get to purifying, let's talk about where you get your water in the first place. You can save yourself a lot of trouble by starting with the best possible source. In a perfect world, you'd stumble on a fresh, bubbling spring. But let's be real, you'll probably be faced with some pretty sketchy choices. First thing, avoid stagnant water. Puddles, still ponds, anything with that nasty green film on top. Those are pathogen playgrounds. Your best bet is always moving water. A river or a stream is way better because the current helps aerate the water and can cut down on some of the nasty stuff. Look for water that's as clear as you can find. The cloudier it is, the more dirt, silt, and other junk is floating around in it. That gunk doesn't just taste bad, it can actually shield germs from being killed later. Also, pay attention to what's around you. Is that stream downhill from an old factory, a farm, a whole lot of animal tracks? If so, you have to assume it's full of chemicals or waste, and you need to find a different source upstream. But remember, never trust your eyes. Even the most crystal clear mountain stream can be loaded with things like Giardia or E. coli, from an animal that did its business just upstream. These are the invisible enemies that will take you down. That's why you always assume your water is contaminated and treat it. Always. The methods we're about to cover will turn that scary assumption into an assurance of safety. This is the classic, the one method that's been trusted for centuries, for one simple reason: it just works. Boiling is the gold standard for killing anything that wants to make you sick. The intense heat literally tears apart the cells of bacteria, viruses, and parasites, making them completely harmless. It's pretty straightforward. Just bring your water to a full rolling boil. And by rolling, I mean big, constant bubbles that you can't stir away. At most elevations, you need to keep that boil going for at least 1 full minute. But if you're up in the mountains, say above 6,500 feet, you need to boil it for at least 3 minutes. Why? Because the higher you go, the lower the boiling temperature of water. That longer boiling time makes up for the lower heat, guaranteeing everything is dead. Of course, this requires a fire and a container that won't melt. A metal pot or even a glass jar works perfectly. But what if you've got nothing? You can make a fire, but you don't have a pot. This is where you get creative. You can use a hollowed-out log or even a depression in a big rock. You won't put these directly on the fire, obviously. Instead, you'll use the hot rock method. Find a few fist-sized, non-porous rocks. Quick pro tip: stay away from river rocks or anything that looks like quartz, since they can hold trapped water and literally explode when you heat them. Get your chosen rocks glowing hot in a fire for about 30 minutes. Then, using a sturdy stick, carefully drop them one by one into your water. You'll hear that satisfying hiss and watch the water come to a boil, disinfecting it right before your eyes. Just remember, the one big weakness of boiling: it's fantastic at killing germs. But it does absolutely nothing for chemical pollutants, heavy metals, or salt. If you've got nothing but contaminated water and no fire, chemical treatments are a lifesaver. Water purification tablets or drops, usually iodine or chlorine-based, can kill bacteria, viruses, and most parasites within 30 minutes to 4 hours, depending on the product. Just follow the instructions on the packet, shake or stir your water, and wait. These are lightweight, portable, and easy to carry in a survival kit. A few tips: use clear water if possible. Tablets work best after filtering sediment. The taste can be a bit off. A pinch of salt or letting the water sit in sunlight can help improve flavor. Remember, these don't remove heavy metals, salt, or chemical pollutants, so they complement but don't replace boiling or a solar still. If you think your water has been chemically contaminated, boiling will only give you hot, sterile poison. For that, we need a different plan. Okay, so what if your water is just plain disgusting, full of mud, leaves, and who knows what? Boiling will make it safe, sure, but it won't make it drinkable. That's where filtration comes in. Building your own filter is a game-changing skill. Now, let's be perfectly clear. This method cleans the water by removing junk. It does not sterilize it. You should always boil your water after filtering if you can. But filtering first makes boiling more effective, and the final product a whole lot tastier. To build one, you need a container. A plastic bottle with the bottom cut off is perfect, but a hollow log or a bark cone works too. You're going to layer materials inside, starting from the bottom, the nozzle end, and working your way up. First layer, bottom, start with a piece of cloth. A bandana, a piece of a t-shirt, or even a tight bundle of grass works. This is just to keep all the other layers from falling out. Second layer, charcoal. This is the magic ingredient. Make your own by burning hardwood until it's black. Then smother it with dirt to put it out before it turns to ash. Let it cool, then crush it into small pieces. Charcoal is incredibly porous and acts like a magnet, trapping all sorts of impurities, bad smells, and even some chemicals. It dramatically improves the taste. Give yourself a nice, thick layer. Third layer, sand. Next up is a layer of fine sand. This will catch all the finer bits of dirt that the charcoal misses. Fourth layer, gravel. Your top layer should be small rocks or gravel. This is your coarse filter, catching the big stuff like leaves and bugs and stopping the layers below from getting clogged right away. Once it's built, hold it over whatever you're collecting water in and slowly pour the murky water into the top. The first bit that drips through might be black from charcoal dust. Just toss it, then keep pouring. You'll be amazed at the difference as the water drips out so much clearer than before. You can even run it through a few times for better results. What you're left with is water that's now ready for that final crucial step, boiling. What if you've got no fuel for a fire? Or what if your only option is the ocean or a pool of chemical-laced water? Boiling is useless against salt and most chemicals. This is when you turn to the biggest power source we've got, the sun. A solar still uses evaporation and condensation to create incredibly pure, distilled water. This method takes patience, but it removes almost everything. Salt, heavy metals, bacteria, you name it. Here's how to build a basic one. Dig a pit. Find a spot that gets tons of direct sunlight. Dig a hole a few feet across and a couple of feet deep. Place a collector, put a cup, can, or even a big leaf folded into a bowl right in the center of the hole. This is for your clean water. Add moisture, pour your contaminated water into the pit around the collector. You can also throw in a bunch of green leaves and grass. As they heat up, they'll release their moisture, giving you a bigger payout. Cover the pit. Stretch a piece of clear plastic over the hole. If you don't have plastic, any waterproof clear material will work. Seal the edges all the way around with rocks or dirt to make it airtight. Create the drip point. Place a small rock in the very center of the plastic, right over your container. This creates a low point where all the clean water will drip from. Now, you just play the waiting game. The sun heats up the pit, causing the water to evaporate into pure water vapor, leaving all the salt, chemicals, and gunk behind. The vapor rises, hits the cooler plastic sheet, and condenses back into liquid. Thanks to that little rock, those pure water droplets run down to the center and drip right into your cup. The only downside, it's slow. On a good sunny day, a still this size might only give you a liter or two of water. But that water will be some of the purest, safest water you could ever hope to find. Knowing how to do this could literally be the difference between life and death. If you found this useful and want to be ready for whatever comes next, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're building a community of survivors here, not just a channel. Share your own tips or ask questions in the comments below. We read every single one, and believe me, we're all in this together. So that's it. 3 solid, no-gear ways to get safe drinking water. Just remember the game plan. If you can, boil your water to kill the germs. If the water's full of junk, filter it first to clean it up, then boil it. And if you're up against salt water or chemicals, or you just can't make a fire, the solar still is your slow and steady path to pure hydration. Master these skills, and you'll have one of the most critical parts of survival completely locked down. Thirst doesn't have to be a death sentence. Stay hydrated, stay smart, and stay alive.